Welcome back to Grounded, where we learned to fix our mic and aren't talking into a Pringles can anymore. We, being Willow and I by the way, started the day off by spending some time gathering our senses and getting our bearings once again, as it has been a hot minute since we last played. After an inspection of the items we are currently missing, we noticed that we didn't have a bow, a shovel, or a red ant chest piece armor. Missing acid glands for the chest piece, elusive gnat fuzz for the bow, and acorn shell for the shovel, we had a general sense of the direction for the day. Here's to hoping Willow is great at following directions, because anyone who knows me would tell you that I absolutely suck at following them. Water is forever an immediate priority, so that's what's up first before anything, so we don't keel over and die.
At least it's clean. Ish.
While scouting about for more water, Willow's dialogue made it clear that she is a kindred spirit to all ant kind. How cute, Willow, but not if I have anything to say about it.
Scrabble along, Conrad.
We tried parkouring up to the water droplet on the grass chute like it was the early 2000s all over again, but after failing the jumps, we knocked it down and drank it mid-air before it fell into a puddle below. Gigabrain. After beating the sense out of a weevil and some smart-ass aphid who thought he could get away from us, we went over to the resource analyzer to discover new things and make our collective brain bigger, but not before finally scrapping that stupid second axe. Willow and I expanded our brain mush to level 3, and we discovered how to create the ever slimy grub armor. Setting our sights on the next destination on the map, we began our perilous trek there, not knowing what many dangers lay ahead of us. Willow made stupid remarks on the way like always. Ugh.
Those aphids look like they have things to do and people to see.
Whatever, Willow. Along the way to our destination, we came across a deep-ish ravine seemingly dug by a non-shrunk spade, which is a bummer because we could have used that. Anyway, the ravine was surrounded on its sides by large rocks, which we naturally scaled to avoid danger like the collective pussies that we are. After an absolutely thorough scan of the environment, we expertly concluded that we were safe and out of harm's way, until we immediately weren't. Discovering that we're being surrounded by nope on all sides, we booked it out of there. We discovered a research station along the way, apparently guarded by the bug equivalent of a six-legged rhino, and made a swift fucking exit. We finally arrived at our destination. A vast, swampy area as far as the eye can see, ripe with resources but rich with danger. On our way here, we no doubt caught the attention of some enemies, but hopefully they didn't tag along for the latter part of the journey. Standing on a rock slightly off the coastline, we were able to spy a new creature we hadn't peeped before, the water flea, before spotting a giant red canister in the distance which was seemingly spewing out some sort of gas. Ooh, ominous. Turns out one of the more stubborn critters from our journey had indeed tailed us, but apparently didn't like getting its feet wet, so it politely waited on the shoreline for us to rejoin the soiree. After we declined its advances, it proceeded to mock us by copying our movements like that stupid game where people mimic your words constantly. So we went ahead and chopped out its head until it stopped being a dick, and then did the same to its friends who came over after they heard about something called a soiree and wanted to join in. Some degree of violence later, the soiree started getting a little too crowded, and our social anxiety kicked in. So we dipped. Shortly thereafter, we found ourselves upon a mud island in the middle of a swamp. The island had some banging music for whatever reason, and we managed to find some goodies laying about. During a bout of kleptomania, we must have stolen an aphid's life savings or something because it unalived itself in front of us, and we just took its corpse to eat later and moved on with our day. After some natural exploration, we spied our first target, gnats, in the distance. Before venturing across the big wet to find our favorite flying resources, we did a bit of good old inventory management. We had noticed that we had somehow collected an acid gland along the way from something. Probably one of those soiree crashes from earlier. Score. Immediately forgetting about the trek across the big wet we're about to take, we walked to the other side of the island and chanced upon a decapitated action figurine completely surrounded by gnats. The sound was horrible. After scaling the action figure and attracting the attention of the surrounding inhabitants, we quickly dispatched them and took their innards as a resource. With our pockets full of gnat fuzz, weevil meat, and bug parts at this point, we decided it was a good time to head home. To do that, though, we'd first have to swim through the very same yuck that we spotted that gross ass water flea in earlier. But what's life without a little bit of danger? One disgusting swim later, we reached the other side of the swamp and soon discovered a mountain made upon a toy's head, rife with
Looks like
mystery and
another
intrigue.
giant action
We
figure
poked
coming
around and
through.
explored a little, but not before noticing an aphid in a hilarious predicament. Being the kind, gentle soul that we are, we decided to try and cut it free so it could continue to live out its days in peace and not because we totally really needed the web fiber. Moments before we went to free the aphid from its comical captivity, however, we were attacked by tiny noodle
Taking
monsters.
a look
But
around.
they were quickly dispatched, so we were free to help the aphid from natural selection. While we were making our way back from our good deed for the day, we passed by and caught the attention of what seemed to be about 19 or so mites, all hanging out like some sort of miniature street gang, before losing them in the grass forest. A similar experience happened yet again as we managed to piss off something big and scary, but fled without really even knowing what it was. Home stretch now as we revisited the resource analyzer and had a dope cram session. This time, churning out the recipes for a new weapon, station item, and a bunch of other useless stuff. Finally arriving home, we did a little bit of inventory management, put the self-unalived aphid and his buddies on the spit, and readied ourselves for tomorrow's grand adventure. In the workbench, we finally made ourselves a ranged weapon in the form of the sprig bow before realizing that we forgot to check around for some acorns amidst the chaos. Personally, I blame Willow, and so should you. We decided to spruce up the place with a few things as the sun had begun to set. First and foremost, a trail marker to see our base from vast distances. Secondly, another storage basket for, well, storage. And after a quick trip to the resource analyzer again to scan the mold sconces for more brain power, we placed and built some lamps in a few spots around the base for intense mood lighting. Nice. After doing a spot of our favorite thing, inventory management, we settled in for the night by jumping under our lean-to with our backpack still on, catching some well-earned rest in anticipation for our next grand adventure.